Hey girls.
How are you?
On.
Hi.
Should we put it on the laptop?
We're gonna put the laptop.
So, yeah.
How is everyone?
Good. Just eating, so I'm like content. Happy stomach.
We're just about to eat.
Have you got anything nice?
We're eating sea bass.
Very hey, beautiful ladies. Welcome, Alex.
Hi. Yeah.
So happy you're with us. Like,
Yes.
oh.
How are we all?
Good.
Beautiful women.
I'm actually really, really good today. Really good.
Good.
Yeah. Like, why is it surprising? But yeah, I'm really, really good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Hey, ladies.
Got Chloe here too.
Hi, Chloe.
Hiya.
Welcome.
Oh, we got the full squad.
Yes, we have.
You all okay?
Oh,
All good. All good.
Nice to meet you, Alex.
Nice to meet you all too. I'm trying to get my work lot to leave me alone as well. So I will be with you all properly in 2 minutes.
clocked off. It's 7 o'clock.
Oh, it never clocks off. Trust me, honestly, never. It's a nightmare. Working from home, they feel like they can get you every hour of the day.
What do you do?
I'm in the stock market.
How are you?
Yeah, so like literally it doesn't stop. But I want to jack that in. I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah. Right, they're gone. I'm here. Sorry, girls.
No need to apologise, not at all. We'll just wait a couple of minutes and make sure that everyone's logging on. Just send out a couple of messages.
Yes. Got Minnie chewing on an egg box.
An Easter egg box.
No, just a normal egg carton box.
Oh, I was like, I want an Easter egg.
No, I haven't got anyone to buy me an Easter egg.
Neither have I. Can we buy each other one, maybe? We'll make a new tradition.
I think we should all buy one of those hoodies and then wear it to one of the sleepovers as a surprise, and we'll be like the UK crew turning up in matching PJs. Everyone else is going to be like, what are they doing?
Oh my God, that's a team. I love that.
Why don't we message them and see if they can give us a discount? Like 10% off. Honestly,
Yeah, what do you do?
£45, isn't it?
I don't know. I didn't even look. I just
Yeah, I
screenshot.
looked at it today. It's £45. I thought I was tempted to message them and say, look, I can get you 10 sales.
Oh, we could all just get a white jumper from eBay and just like draw it on.
Yeah, like that idea.
Yeah. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, I'm loving the vibes today.
Oh, please.
It's like it might just be us all then, but do you know what? This is amazing. Obviously, we've got our two new queens who are joining the challenge with us today. I'm so grateful. Alex and Chloe, like welcome.
Welcome.
Goddess Circle. Like literally, we are so sass queens. We're like, queen. Love it. No, I'm telling you now, we are so. I love every single woman in this group. Like, I'm so glad you're all here. Thank you for showing up. And as we always say, we like to start off our Wake Up Wednesdays with gratitude. Thank you for spending this hour with us. As we always say, Wake Up Wednesdays are usually the hump day. Hopefully we can change that for you. And we've got something really amazing in store today. So our goddess, Claire, is going to be sharing an absolute eureka brain buster for everyone. Right, she shared it on our self-care Sunday for those of you that couldn't join us. but she's going to be sharing it again because it was just so profound. Even I was like, wow, like I didn't even realize that. So definitely stay tuned for the end of the Wake Up Wednesdays, because that is definitely one not to be missed. And this will be uploaded to YouTube for everyone who can't make it live with us today. So we can send this out to our goddesses. But thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you all so much love and light. And do you know what? To be honest, today's been quite a difficult day for me. I've been on a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I even pulled the Supermoon card, which is all about high emotions. And I think it's a really good thing, because I know that this is all surfacing for me to be able to release. And it's crazy how in alignment the challenges come up, because every single challenge that I've done, when I've started, I have felt like emotionally drained, spiritually aligned, and physically healthy. And I feel like now this new cycle is coming up for me to just do some even more introspective, deeper work. So when I'm telling you, we are going to be going on this journey with you, we are going to be going on this journey with you. And we're going to be there every single step of the way. And we're just going to really experience something that none of us have ever experienced before. And we're also going to experience sides of ourselves that we haven't allowed ourselves to experience for a long while. And it's just such a beautiful experience to go on with other like-minded women. So I'm just so excited. Like, oh my God, it's like emotions galore. But we do make self-care fun. There will be a lot of laughs. There will be a lot of tears. There's going to be a lot of releasing. But it's going to be worth it. It's really, really going to be worth it. And for those of you that don't know me, my name's Charlie Grech. I am 27 years young, as I like to say, and I am based in Essex in the UK in Chigwell. And my beautiful co-host, Natalie Maynard, I'm going to pass it on to you, my absolute queen.
Thank you. Hello, ladies. For those of you who don't know me, I am Natalie, and I'm 10 minutes down the road from Charlie, which I'm forever grateful for. Literally a step away, which is fantastic. And we're just so grateful that we have found all of you. Like, if Charlie never gave this gift to me, I would never have been able to share it with the women who I brought onto this call, and I wouldn't have been able to change my own life. And I feel like that is what our mission is with Put You First. It really is about changing our own lives so that we can make an impact and help others change theirs in the process. And as women, we are all very natural caregivers, and I feel like a lot of us are so used to continually putting ourselves first. Continuously, I always get that word wrong. Continuously, okay, I'm from Essex. But continuously putting others before ourselves, and it's so important that we really do carve the time to take care of ourselves first. And from personal experience, I won't go too much into my story because I know that many of you on this call have heard it already, but for me, it was a really difficult time being a sufferer of anxiety. I was a carer for my grandfather. I'd lived with my nan and granddad from an early age, and my nan got very suddenly diagnosed with lung cancer. I cared for her until the day she passed away, and then going into caring for my grandfather just was automatic reaction for me. They looked after me when I was a child, and I wanted to obviously repay the favour when they was elderly, and I'm grateful that I get to do so. My granddad's nearly 98, and he's very happy and healthy and loving life, safe in his warm home, and that's just how I want it to be. But it was really difficult going through that, and I didn't have a great relationship with my mum. I had amazing friends that I could turn to, but you know, sometimes you just need something a little bit more. And what I didn't realise was that little bit more was always stuck deep inside myself. And I was constantly looking for external sources to fill this void or this gap or this just space that I was feeling inside. And I didn't realise until Charlie gave me this community, these tools, these incredible health products, that I could actually do this. And luckily I didn't have to do it by myself, which is why I am so incredibly grateful to be on this journey with all of you, because it can be really scary, ladies, when we go through situations and we know that we need to change and we don't know where to start, who to turn to, what it is exactly that we need to do to move in that right direction, it can be a really scary time, especially when you're feeling very alone. So we don't want any woman to have to go through this journey alone, and we will make sure that you won't. And we're going to be with you every single step of the way. And I mean, this is going to be our 3rd challenge, Charlie. And realistically, like I've said before, we've actually done everything that is involved in the challenge since we started PutUFirst, because we are the co-founders. So for us, we've done this over and over and over again, but yet every time we do it, it just seems to unlock like this other level, and like we say, peel back a layer. So I'm going to pass it back over to you, my darling.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I can't agree with you more. I mean, yeah, it's going to be our 3rd challenge, and yeah, we have done this many times before the PutUFirst challenge was even created. Like, I've been in self-development now since I was 19 and I'm 27. So coaching's been something that I've been doing for 2 years now with men and women. However, my journey was just a journey of opening up after years and years of emotional, physical, sexual abuse by my environment. And I didn't have a great relationship with my mum. And that really affected me as an adult. And it really affected me to be able to open up, for me to be able to trust people, for me to be able to let people in. I pretty much brought myself up, and you were damned if anyone was going to tell me what to do. Let me just tell you that. But it become a burden in my life. Like, I wouldn't let anyone know what was going on inside, but I was dealing with so much inner trauma that 3 years ago I was actually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I went to the doctors. I had severe anxiety and depression. They put me onto cognitive behavioral therapy level 3 at the time. They thought it was severe depression, and it was post-traumatic stress disorder from something that happened to me when I was about 4 years old. And I was a victim of sexual abuse, and it was something that was making me a victim in my daily life to myself. Like, I couldn't open up. I shamed myself. I blamed myself. I was guilty for not knowing better when I was a child, and I hated myself for not knowing better when I was a child. And then it also made me hate the woman that I was growing into as an adult. And then it also made me envious of other women that were happy and people that were happy, because I was so unhappy inside. Like, the positive person that you see today, it has taken graft for me to be this woman. Like, I was a victim, and now I know better, because what we've learned and because of the introspection that we've been able to do with the support of the women in our community. And I think that's something that's just so important, and that's why I love to share it, because I tried carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders for so long that it just swallowed me up and nearly ate me whole. And luckily I got out of my own way, and I learned how to ask for help, and the right people were there. Can you see him in the background? There's Prince in the background. But yeah, luckily I got out of my own way and asked for help, because there's so many people out there that are struggling and that are dealing with trauma, and they're blaming themselves, they're hating themselves for it. They have no compassion for the situation that they've been through and the way that they're feeling, and they're locking themselves up in this mental prison inside, when really it's yes, okay, there are really, really bad things that have happened to people in the world. That has happened since the beginning of time. The way you feel about it is completely valid, but for you to hold on to it and keep beating yourself and projecting your past into your future, that's your responsibility. And that's something that I've learned. And I've learned now that ultimately, whatever happens in our life, the way that we feel about it, that is our power. Like, we give power to whatever happens. We can either be miserable or we can either be joyful. And if I can just help people realize that they literally have the power to change their life by changing their perception, then that is my job done. And I think that's what we're doing with PutUFirst. We're teaching women how to put themselves first by starting with going inside and facing their fears and not doing it alone. So yeah, that's literally a big part of Put You First for me and my story. Obviously, the more that we'll get to know each other, the more that we'll uncover. And I mean, this challenge is going to be a big one. I can feel a big shift coming on. I've been saying it for a while, but also I want to share that we do have a lot of women in the Put You First community, and our mentor Heidi is she was a TV presenter for 10 years, and she's great at creating movies. So she's created a little movie for us. I'm going to share it with you all, ladies.
I put me first to put you first.
I put me first to put you first.
Oh, sorry, what happened there? Malfunction. Can you see my screen?
Not now.
Not now. Round two.
We can't see it. Oh no, it started. It started.
Put me first to put you first. So yes, I'm still putting me first to put you first.
So I'm learning that I have to put me first to put you first.
There's nothing better than seeing all these beautiful faces jumping on.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
We call ourselves Put You First. That is what our community is. That is what our movement is.
Seeing everyone's growth and witnessing their own aha moments. It's like magic happening right in front of your eyes, and that's very special.
You are here today because this community is meant for you. And all you have to do is just say yes.
I'm just actually flabbergasted of how many women are on here.
And when you have that group support and you are not by yourself, things start changing in your life.
That's what we're creating with this community. We're creating a support system, physically, mentally, financially, to be able to live in a vibration of abundance and embrace our most authentic self and share our happiness together.
It's something incredible, and our health is so important, especially at a time like this.
And I'm learning more about myself every day, and learning more about all the women in the community as well, because it is just safe space.
Gift, because this is what it is, ladies. It is a gift that we have got to give to women all over the world, because without this gift I wouldn't be the lady that I am speaking on this call today.
But it's now my time to think about me, and oh God.
Put You First has now not just become this incredible community, but we even have what's called a 7-day challenge that we do together.
Put You First 7-day challenge. Holy Moses.
This challenge made me aware of why I was doing that, or why I needed to do it more. And it also forces you into small, daily, simple habits that can just start you back on the right track.
So there's so many things in this challenge that you ladies gonna learn that it's amazing, because it's make you be the woman that you always wanted to be.
Joined a lot of self-care challenges and groups and stuff, and they're a lot of fluff. This is not fluff. This is fluff free.
Mentorship that I have received, knowing now about the excuses that I use, the way that I self-sabotage myself, the perception that I had on my own reality and the experiences that I was going through, now knowing that has helped me become the person that I am today. And it's all because I said yes.
There are amazing women that I've met, that I laughed with, cried with. Anytime we're on the call, we're just like, I actually want to even cry, because it's done so much for me.
Maybe you are someone that's not putting yourself first. You are someone that needs to surround yourself with more women like this.
I said yes. I said yes to this opportunity because I believe it has the power to change lives.
Because all you have to do, everyone, is just say yes.
Oh, it always gives me all the feels. So that is us, ladies. That is Put You First. That is the women of our community, and we are just blessed to experience this with you. As we said, yes, we did found Put You First a week before the whole world went into lockdown. Like, what are the chances? 2020, to be honest, was one of the best years of my life because Put You First was created, and it was just everything that I'd ever needed, and we didn't even realize what we was creating at the time. We didn't realize how much that we actually needed it, but I would not be sane without those women. I'm telling you, they have just supported me. They have loved me unconditionally. Even when I've tried to run away from myself, they've pulled me back. And I'm just blessed and humbled to even be a part of this movement. And you are the start as well. Like what we're doing here, this is just the start of Put You First. We haven't even been around for a year. We are still learning, we are growing, we are open to new ideas, and we are looking for leaders who really want to share these lessons and these incredible people with their people. And that's something that I feel like I'm meant to do. Like, I'm a DJ. I love creating a vibe. I love bringing good people together. Like, music is something that has helped me heal throughout my life. And people, like, you meet people, you vibe with different people. We've all got different energy, and you resonate on a different frequency with different people, but you become who you surround yourself with. And I'm just blessed that I'm surrounded by so many goddesses. Like, seriously, this is just, I love you guys. Like, and I'm every woman that keeps getting brought into the group and brought into our lives. It's like we're meant to meet. It's like we was meant to come together for a bigger reason that is so much bigger than all of us. And when you're saying yes to Put You First, you're not saying yes to Put You First. You're saying yes to you, finally. And I just want to say thank you, because it's been an emotional day for me, and I know it's gonna help me lean in even more, and just to be able to have a support system myself. Like, I know I'm there for a lot of you women, but you're there for me as much as I am there for you. And I want you to know that we're all going through this. Like, none of us have got it figured out, but we're going to figure it out together. And that's something that I just think is so beautiful. And we did our consistency workshop on Sunday. So we wanted to share a couple of tips that we learned, and just the aha moments that we had within that workshop, and why it's so important to be consistent. Now, Nat, did you want to lead with this?
Sorry, the zoo has just decided to come through the door. I've got the dog, I've got my sister, I've got the rabbit, and it's all very distracting. So I'm really sorry. Okay, and breathe. Sorry, right. Can you just repeat what you just said?
No, that's fine. It's fine. So obviously we done the workshop on Sunday with consistency, and we wanted to just really focus on that topic because it really leads well into Claire's self-care tip as well. Because we're all consistent. We may not feel that we are, but we are all very, very, very consistent women. We're all very consistent people. It's just we're consistent in many bad habits. And one thing that I know is that I am very disciplined. Like, I am very good at making a decision and sticking to it. However, there is a big difference between consistency and being stubborn, especially if something isn't working. Now, this is something that was massive, massive aha moment for me with the consistency workshop, because being consistent helps you achieve success if you are consistently making progress. Now, what that means is tracking what you're doing. A lot of us do this with our emotions. A lot of us do this with our affirmations. A lot of us do this with work. For instance, you'll track yourself for a 30-day trial. You'll look over and see how it's been. And even when I was going through therapy, it was something that I did on a daily basis. And then I would realize that sometimes when I'm having a bad moment in a day, it's not a bad life. Whereas at that time, it felt like it was the end of the world, because I just felt like, oh my God, every day I feel like this all the time. And you make them grand sweeping statements, as Heidi always tells us. But when you keep track of what you're doing in work, in the way that you're feeling, in anything that you're focusing on with your affirmations, it really helps you build systems to success. But if you're not aware of these systems that you have integrated within your mental faculties right now, and you're not seeing, okay, is this actually giving me what I want, or can I shift this and try something new and get creative, then you're literally working against yourself. And you might be like me and you might feel like you're a bit stubborn and you might think, but I've said to myself, I'm going to do this. And if I don't do this, then I'm not sticking to my commitment. However, it's not helping me. So why do I keep doing that? Probably talking about ex-relationships. It's probably a big one for all of us men. No, I'm joking. We love men. We love men. We do love men as well. We wouldn't be here without them. We can't live with them. We can't live without them. But one thing I just wanted to touch on as well is really when you're being consistent with certain things, you have to give yourself a reward. You can't just keep pushing yourself and pushing the barrel and running on empty when you're not even giving yourself that feel good at the end of what you've achieved. And you might not even have achieved your goal to the level that you want, but the fact that you've even done something, or you've taken a step in the right direction, or you've brought on a new client, or you've hit half of your bonus scale or something, you still deserve to reward yourself for that. Otherwise, what you're doing is, it's the same as like a rabbit. I'm trying to teach Prince things at the moment. And how do I do that? When he does something well, I'll feed him a treat. If he keeps doing something well and I don't treat him, he's not going to learn, and he's not going to continue to do that. And we are exactly the same. But I do fall into the trap myself as well. And I'll hold my hands up and say it. Sometimes I forget to celebrate my wins, and I'm so busy focusing on the next goal and what I can do next and how I can push myself even more, that I'm not actually giving myself the credit that I deserve and the reward. And I think that's something that really, that blew my mind on Sunday, that consistency workshop. What were your thoughts, Nat?
So I feel like I can really resonate with what you're saying there, because especially celebrating the small wins are just as important, if not more important, than celebrating the big wins sometimes, because it's all about taking those steps on a journey and knowing that you're going to get to where you need to be. And it's about trusting that process. But for me, it was really about something that really hit hard for me is I also suffer with OCD, so I'm such a perfectionist. And if things don't go the way that I want them to, even if, say, it's 98% right and the 2%'s wrong, I am so focused on the 2% that I forget to celebrate the 98%. And I feel like that was a lot to what contributed to my very negative mindset, because it's so easy to have a lot of negative thoughts. And even if you've got one positive thought, it doesn't seem to balance. So that was something that I really learned. Celebrating the small wins is so important. Another thing was, it's actually dawned on me because I spoke last week on our Wake Up Wednesdays about eating disorders, because that's something that's very close to my heart as well. It's National Eating Disorder Week. It's actually rolled over to this week as well, which I'm so grateful for. There's so many people are talking about it. There's so many conversations, great awareness. I love it. But it was, part of me was thinking about, with consistency, I know that for me especially, I really struggled with trusting the process. For me, it was all about that instant gratification. You know, I wanted to eat a salad, look in the mirror and look like I've lost a stone. Like, that was what I wanted. That was how my mentality worked. And I could not fathom the fact that I had to do that day in, day out for 2 weeks to possibly see a slight difference. And it was just something that I think is actually ingrained in our culture, especially now as, connected by the internet as we are, which is such a beautiful way. But even things like Instagram, I feel like that feeds into our need for instant gratification. You know what, you put something up and automatically you get liked instantly from all over the world, and it feeds that instant gratification that we're searching for. So when we really want to focus our direction or our energy into something that we know may take slightly longer than what we want it to, I think that's when we find it really hard to stay consistent. Or when we do face setbacks, because let's be realistic, we probably will face setbacks on our journey, that we find it difficult to continue. Instead, I know for me, talking from my own experience, especially with my eating disorders, I would be really, really good all day, and then I'd end up binging in the evening and hating myself for it, saying, do you know what, tomorrow's a new day, we're going to get on with it. doing the same thing the next day, and it was a constant battle with myself, and it ended up being all or nothing and falling off the wagon. You know, it was like you don't just have one bad day, one cheat meal, and then get back on the wagon and start the next day. That was never me. It was, I fucked it now. I'm off. I'm on my way. I'm going to eat everything and I don't care about it. So that was something really, really big that blew my mind as well, learning about the consistency. But also there was a really good positive to that workshop. I was dreading that workshop, I'm not going to lie, ladies. Not only I've got a myriad of physiological things going on with me, I also suffer with ADHD. So that was something that should have been picked up when I was a child, probably. It's funny because when I look back to that now, my nan always used to say to me, well, I tried absolutely everything, played every instrument, done every sport, done every like after school activity, never ever stuck to anything. And my nan always said to me, oh, you'll never be able to do anything because you just don't stick at it long enough. So that was ingrained in me as I grew up. I genuinely thought that I was never going to be, you know, I wanted to be a paramedic at one point in my life. Can you imagine me covered in blood? Funny. But seriously, like, and I could never see myself being a businesswoman or something with a huge career, because I never thought that I could make it because I wasn't consistent. But realistically, that webinar, like I said, I was really worried about joining that webinar because I thought this is just going to tell me what I don't want to hear. But in fact, it told me that I am consistent in a lot of areas in my life. And one of those areas is replacing negative habits with new habits. Now, this is something that we've spoken about recently as well, Charlie. And it's about, if you're going to remove a negative habit from your life, you can't just go cold turkey. You have to fill that with something positive for you to really create them new neuro pathways. So I actually realized that I've been doing a lot of that, and that's a small win. That's a small win that I will celebrate, because okay, I might not be where I want to be, and I might not have reached that goal on my journey yet, but I'm doing those small steps, and I am celebrating those small wins, because that is consistency. And I hope that you all realise that in your life as well. I love you, ladies. Thanks.
You know what? There's something that Heidi said on that workshop that absolutely blew my mind. And I just want to drop this gem on everyone before Claire shares a self-care tip. But it was, why do we call the thing that is holding us back our comfort zone? Why do we call it our comfort zone? Why do we give it such a name when that's the actual thing that's holding us back? If anything, it should be called the hell zone.
Yeah.
That is the place that the only time you're ever going to get out of it is when you hit rock bottom, and the only way is up. So if one thing I can encourage you to do, anytime you feel comfortable, you're in the hell zone. Get out of there real quick. That blew my mind. I was like, ooh, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that means that you're growing. And that means you're glowing. But Claire, I'm going to hand it over to you, my soul sister. I'm so excited.
Honestly, I can't even tell you how much I resonate with everything you've just both said. Like, yes. That is the most beautiful little gem ever. What a moment of realization. Because we all have those comfort zones. And I had I don't know, like I never really spoke about my story, but it's funny because I struggled with eating disorders, but I also have type 1 diabetes. So I had something called diabulimia, which is not very popularly known or understood. But I got to a point psychologically where I had such a little care that essentially I was living in an extreme survival mode. There was not a day that I woke up where it couldn't have gone one way or the other. And that, when you reflect on it, is petrifying, because like you say, how can you call that your comfort zone? That is so far from what that should be called. So I really appreciate that. That's just given me a huge little light bulb moment there. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, that's a really good point. Oh, I love you guys so much. So I'm going to read a little note that I wrote about mantras. I don't know how many of you actually saw the Sunday call, so I don't want to repeat too much like a parrot because sometimes it can just sound a bit samey, but I am going to re-reference from the same notes because it's just keeps me on that flow. You know what it's like when you I'm not going to say it. I'm not manifesting it anymore.
You are amazing. I'm so excited. I don't even care if you repeat everything word by word. I want to hear it all again.
Give us the science lesson. So mantras they come in all various shapes and sizes. Though mantras are different to affirmations because I do believe mantra comes from like ancient traditions and religions. So there are certain things that sound a lot different than say an I am affirmation or I don't know, what else do we use? Positive words of affirmation. There's an abundance of them, but you all know the power of words, and what you speak into existence does start to create itself. So with that being said, ancient traditions and religions across the world have laid emphasis on the power of repetitive recitals of certain words or mantras. So the reason why so many religions pray and they pray to God is because that repetitive mantra, that repetitive cycle that they keep repeating creates a large impression of devotion to the God energy, that source energy, that life force energy within their subconscious mind. And the more we repeat these things, the more bigger and beautiful that devotion center gets, and it actually overrides all the other impressions that we create in our brain, which is why after doing an affirmation session, meditating and going within for a moment, you feel so refreshed because you've almost created this positive wave that's coating the impressions that you sometimes dismiss in your subconscious mind because they can be quite shadow related. There can be a lot of impressions that we didn't realize other people have put there. We have put there on ourselves. It's a lot of work. And like the lady said earlier, like you have to be gracious with yourself when you're taking this journey and doing these things and celebrate those tiny wins because they are the most important. And if there's anybody who knows about self-deprecative behavior, it's me, because I still have my daily struggles with it. It's not something that you can just jump over in a matter of minutes. It is an everyday, tiny little steps progress to embodying the true self-worth that we all deserve to embody, because we were never not worthy. We've just been majorly conditioned to feel all these different things, and we don't know how to decipher from what's real and what's not. So with that being said, what happens with these words or these mantras that we repeat, they produce certain sound or a certain vibration. And as we know, everything is vibration, everything is energy. So as that happens, it helps stimulate our spiritual awakening, no matter what word it is that we are repeating, no matter what category it is that we're working on. That stimulation, as I said, makes that devotion center get bigger and bigger and bigger. You become more dedicated, and not necessarily in an egotistical self way, but in a self-full way where it's not ego driven. Oh, I'm thinking about me. It's heart-centered driven, where you love yourself too much to let yourself experience other than that. Boundaries. I've worked through those quite fondly as well. So healing the human body, mind and soul, that all happens when you're sat repeating and going through repetitive cycles. You don't realize it until you start to reflect on how you felt when you didn't do it. If there's one thing I've really learned is on a healing journey, which is essentially your entire life, when you're on this roller coaster that you don't realize you need to get off of, you can be going on these extreme highs and feel that eureka moment where you come crashing back down because you're not incorporating these really important tiny little things. Mantras, affirmations, you don't have to be sat in a Zen zone. You know, there seems to be a lot of stereotyping when it comes to spiritual adventures, and I don't like it because it's human. We don't realize that we're actually wanting the same thing. So you can literally repeat your affirmations and your mantras while you're hoovering, while you're in the shower, while you're doing your daily tasks. And actually by doing that, you create the most beautiful life for yourself, because you're enjoying these maybe what were once mundane experiences. I don't know about you, but I am not one for chores. I try. But in all honesty, incorporating mantras and affirmations whilst I'm doing it's really helped, because I don't know if you've noticed, there's a different energy in your home if you're cleaning out of anger than if you're cleaning out of love, and you can feel it. And I've really tapped into that lately, because I used to get so angry and stressed and like, oh, the washing needs to, I'm throwing the washing in the washing machine because I'm just angry that it's not been done for so long. And then you realize, oh, the washing machine's now stupidly loud, or it's not done, it's stupidly wet when it comes out, all because you put that energy into that stupid washing. When if you were reciting moments of, oh, do you know what? Been a day, I am worthy. I am worthy of doing my washing. I deserve clean clothes. You know, I really love this item, as you put it in. Be gracious for the things that we own. We so easily disregard it. And I am totally to blame there myself, because it's human nature. And when we have all of these millions of subconscious impressions that are negative, I grew up in an OCD household. So if you moved a simple thing 2 centimeters the wrong way, you were getting pulled up on that. That is not acceptable. So I always swore in my own house, I wouldn't care. It didn't matter. It's ridiculous that we over obsess with these things. However, it's still a subconscious impression that I have in my brain that I now need to do the work to replace. And that's essentially all we're doing. We're replacing these impressions, or we're overriding these impressions with new impressions that we put in place. And they can be all sorts of things. It's like, I love Heidi's example of it with her son. When you say one negative thing, let's put 2 positive things out there as well. And it doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter how crappy they may be in that moment. Just put them out there, because you get what you put out. So if you're consistently, again, the call all about consistency, if you're consistent with negative affirmation, negative words to self, you are reinforcing those impressions in your subconscious mind that are just going to keep waving in, wave after wave. As the saying says, wave after wave to the shore, the impressions flow in our mind. You can't ever stop your subconscious mind coming into your conscious mind. It's like the ocean. You can't control the waves. They're going to keep coming in and going out, but you can control how you respond to them. We don't need to react all the time. We need to start responding. And that's one thing that I've really, really found beneficial when it comes to mantras and affirmations, because you are sincerely chanting whatever it is you're chanting. You're doing it in a heartfelt way that reconnects you with your soul center, which is really important. The more you can lean into your soul center and lean forward with your heart, the easier it becomes to just be yourself, because you're not having to put up a front or be a certain way to please certain people. You are just leading from the heart and soul. And when that resonates, it's true, it's honest, and those people are what you deserve in your life. The people that, how do I explain this? When we have to feel like we've got to be a certain way around a certain person, it's a false relation, because it's built on that kind of, how do I explain this? That kind of connection that, yeah,
that's
go
it.
for it, jump in.
Love that.
Losing what I'm saying. I'm like, I know it's coming. Someone's gonna completely get what I'm saying here.
Expectations. We all
That's the word. Yes, because when you put that on, when you put that expectation pressure on yourself to have to be a certain way, it's too much pressure. And if there's one thing this community's really gifted me, is to let go of that pressure. Really just step out of my own way. Like you said, Charlie, get out of your own way so that you can be of best service to yourself as well as others. Obviously, everything is I did a reading today. It's so funny how my reading is just connecting bang on with what both of you were saying. And it really is about valuing self, putting yourself first, utilizing that self-love in whatever way you can to then gift your best self to others, because you don't deserve the connections that aren't built on that heart center. If there's one thing recently with all the low commotion in the world, I've let go of many friends, but I tell you, it has brought in some incredible soul connections that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like, oh, see, divine universe doing its thing, thank you so much. And the more you lean into it, the better it becomes. You really do start to embrace every moment and every aspect of life. It sounds woo-woo, it sounds magical, but that's because life is magical, and it can feel not magical when you are swallowed in that, like Charlie said, what did we call it? Not the comfort zone, but the hell zone. When you're in the hell zone, it doesn't feel magic, but it is. You are creating all those negative things as if by magic. And it's strange how we don't see that in that moment, how even from the outside, if you're talking to someone, you'll see people in these states. It's very difficult to help them switch on the lights inside to actually see, oh, right, I'm reinforcing negative impressions and keep creating this. I'm allowing this wave to keep taking control. And actually, I could step in and put something new in there. Really? They kind of, they dismiss it because it doesn't make sense to them. They're so comfortable in that negative state because they've been programmed to be that way. You really do need a community of people to help pull you out, to help bring you back to, it's so important that we don't do this on our own, because we can't. And as much as we take that journey, we do it for ourselves, because we must do it for ourselves, and we must enjoy that introspection for self first. It's almost impossible to fully embody that without your community. Really is, because I was somebody who was very private, I'm a spiritual person, yeah, I'll talk about it, yeah, but I don't have a community of like-minded people that I chat to on a daily basis. I don't have those relationships that are insanely divine. Like, there is everything angelic in these women in this community. It's incredible, and I never thought I would be so open to receiving that. Those negative impressions get pretty big, and as that ego mind gets pretty loud, so you do have to know how to turn it off. And you can turn it off. You can just turn it down, even if it's a little whisper, just turn it down a little bit more, because you've got a divine voice sat there waiting to be heard, to be expressed through you. It was brilliant. Phil, that video you shared, Charlie, Phil, when he was talking about being pipes, and you imagine us as pipes. So we have all these different pipes that lead to different things, and sometimes we're feeding certain pipes, but we're forgetting about these other pipes. What happens when you lean into your true self, when you lean into that heart-centered relationship with others, relationship with yourself, relationship with your environment, you become one pipe. And you can channel divine energy through all that, because you're aligned. You're leading with that true essence of self, and not something that doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, listen to that. Because for far too long, I think we really listen to these millions of impressions in our subconscious that serve no purpose whatsoever but to tear us apart. And it seems sad, but when you think about the universe, and I love to put big perspectives on things because sometimes it gets deep, and I'm a very, very deep person, but I can hold deep conversation very well. You can dive to the bottom of the ocean and sit there for hours. I don't mind. But just to put a big, zoom out perspective, so it doesn't feel too deep. If you imagine the universe is actually, I don't know what the accurate percentage is, but it's dark matter. And I think it's probably somewhere between 80 to 70% dark matter, shadow, nothingness, vast empty space of void. So if you imagine your life journey in reflection to that, the fact that we're shining so much light on so much darkness in our lives to really fully embrace our existence, hats off to us, man, because even just thinking about wanting to do that, if you didn't conceive it like that, or you didn't actually kind of see it that way, that's what you're doing. You're focusing on the light that connects all. We're like a giant spider web. We are the light bulbs that connect to one another, that shine a light on all the darkness that surrounds us, that's within us. Because if we don't continuously do that, we're going to go backwards in time. When you look at humans, in the history of humans, we are pretty weird. There's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of oddness. It's a bit like, we used to do that? What? Why? But over time, over centuries, we've kept shining light on situations that need to be shone light on. We've kept focusing on how to evolve, how to improve. And it's not over yet. People think, oh, we know everything now. We don't. We're actually going back again because it's time to relearn everything that we once learned, because now there's so much more to learn that can actually take us to that next step as a collective humanity, into truly embodying our best life, because we all deserve that. And it's our minds that play tricks on us, making us think that we don't, when in fact we always did. The more we create the new impressions in our mind and positive reinforcement, positive repetition, it will change. It is hard. I have been in those situations where you are stood in that negative, and sometimes you have to be the flow of that negative energy. Don't ever try and suppress that, because doing that causes more damage than just allowing the release. And if it means you've got to take yourself off to release, do so. So many people do it in different ways, and I've really kind of tried to find new ways to embody that, because there's been a lot of stagnant energy. There's been a lot of inflamed energy, not just internally in my body, but like everywhere. Everything's kind of just like in my face. And I'm like, okay, how do I deflate you? Because you're all up here and I can't focus when there's just so many things going on, brain. So one thing I will say with relation to mantras is, I know not everybody's good at visualization. However, one thing that's really helped me is taking myself to a sacred space in my mind. Now, my sacred space is a bench that's on top of a hill, and it's just sat in front of sky. Just sky. So what I do when I'm sat on this bench is I imagine my thought, whatever thoughts come up, feelings that come up, they are clouds in my sky. And I can look at lots of different things all at once, can be there, or sometimes there's nothing and it's a clear sky. But the fact that I'm sat on the bench gives me that perspective of distance, so that I'm not floating on that cloud. I'm not being clouded by that one particular topic. I'm sat on the bench observing them. I just wanted to give you that little something that I do, because it's a bit different. I know it's not easy for everybody to physically visualize things, but if you can take yourself to a sacred space, to put those affirmations out there, to watch something that you needed to watch, you play your life like a movie. I remember being a kid and literally I would be sat on a bus journey home tuning it out, because I'm a big fan of music. I have music for every emotion. Whatever I'm feeling, it needs to be emphasized with music alongside it. Don't care what emotion it is, there's a tune that goes with that. And I would sit there staring out the window, and it would almost be like a music video playing out in my head, and I would be embodying this music and releasing whatever it was I needed to release. And it's all in my mind. I might not have expressed it in emotion, but I went to some sacred space in my mind that allowed that place of perspection. And I really do feel like if you can create that impression, that center in your brain, and repetitively go back and keep reinforcing it positively, do your affirmations on the bench, do your mantras on the bench, meditate on the bench, just be observant when you're in that really rutty moment, you're not quite sure what to do, go to the bench in your mind, because it's it's the safest space for you to not overreact in that moment, for you to be able to then weigh up and make the best choice, for you to be able to reinforce something positive when the negative is just swarming in. You can go to that place, and it's all in your imagination, so it will not ever be destroyed. It cannot be destroyed. The only person that could destroy it is you, and why would you do that to your sacred space? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. Oh, I hope that kind of covers some things for you. I feel like I completely went on a different tangent there than last time. However, sometimes different messages come through, and I really started to trust my intuition with just flowing with what I have to say in the moment, rather than I don't want to sound like a primary school teacher.
Can we all give Claire a massive, massive heart? This is how we show love on Put You First, because we can't hug in person. That was incredible. Like, I'm someone who struggles with visualization, but music is something that allows me to feel that loving vibration and be able to process my emotions in a non-visual way, because I'm kinesthetic. So I feel through emotions. You get visual, you get audio, you get kinesthetic. I'm a very emotional energy. My brain and my body translates energy through emotions more so than visualization and hearing things. But I love that you've just gave people something that works for you. And it doesn't matter what you do, it's just as long as you do it and you do it consistently, because at the start, the ego's going to be so loud because it's shifting and it's dying. Essentially, your identified self, which is the ego, is no longer going to exist the way that it did exist before, because you're changing, you're expanding, you're evolving, you're releasing dark energy, stagnant energy, and you're allowing in new light. There's one thing that I can't remember who said it. I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but ego stands for edge, God, out. And regardless if you believe in the universe, source energy, God, Allah, whoever it is, they are just literally stories for the same message, which is source energy. But when we're born into this physical world, we're born into this world into a family who teach us programs and information that you attach yourself to, and you build an identity. So what we're doing here is we are disidentifying with this identity that has kept us stuck within our now moment to become a better version of us within our future now moments. And we're learning how to evolve and remold as women together. It's so powerful what we're doing. Like, I mean, the fact that we can even have a safe space to talk about things like this and open up our minds, like, where else? Where else? I love you all.
I'm so grateful.
Honestly, Claire, you just blow me away when you speak. You've got the most beautiful, profound mind that I think I've ever seen in anyone. So we need more of your knowledge that you must share. You must share more of it with us. And thank you. And thank you to all of you ladies for taking the time to put yourself first, not just today, because shit gets real on Sunday. And honestly, I am buzzing to be able to take this experience alongside such powerful, beautiful women. And I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. So let's fucking do this, ladies. I'm so excited. Thank you.
So excited. We've got a couple of minutes before we need to jump off. Does anyone want to open up the space or say anything?
We could just repeat Eilish's dance moves. Then I like that. She was getting a groove on. I'm like, yeah, that's spooky. It's gonna be a good day when that happens and we're all in the same room.
Oh my God!
It's like
Slumber party tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Yes,
I'm so excited.
I'm excited to give my Pisces message. I feel like I found a really nice avenue for the slumber parties. Yeah. Kind of like direct it towards the female energy of Pisces, because we are a female group. So
absolutely,
we don't need to actually, with astrology, we all know that it's very specific to every single individual because of how precise you have to be to get it that accurate. But I feel like there's something about, I grew up with a Pisces woman in my life, my mother, and it wasn't all positive experience. So it's really, really nice to be able to have new friends that are Pisces women, and then also really focus on the positive energy there, because I do think, again, it's like the conditioned thing, like you were saying, Charlie, where we do get conditioned to believe certain things about certain things, and it's so funny how you can just completely wipe it like that.
Yeah. When you meet the right people and they can change. One thing I love is even down to like food or something that you've never even tried before. I used to be this person, no, don't like it, never even tried it. Never even tried it. Don't like it. Try it. And you know, when you get that one person that just helps you get out of your own way. And I feel like we are all that person for each other. And we are helping each other see things in a different perspective, to, instead of hate something or go, no, that's not a bit of me, to actually lean in and go, oh, and I'm finding some things that I actually really love, and some people that I wouldn't have been able to open myself up to if it wasn't for what we're doing. So I just want to say I love you all so much. I'm so excited for this week. I can just feel like so much. I know my emotions are running high, but I know that this is all I've got to be like, whoa. Oh, thank you so much for being here with us, you absolute queens. I can't wait to see you all tomorrow at the slumber party. I can't even talk.
You're that excited. You can't get your words out.
I know. I'm burning up. I'm all going red.
It's the energy of this chat, I'm telling you, because I'm the same. That's why I was mumbling before. It's like, rewind. Sorry, what do we say? There's so much sparky energy here. I'm like,
there actually is so much energy here. Like I know that you've done this. I've not done this before, and I'm all new to this. But that's what I think drew me into this, was the energy. And I think,
lap it up, Alex. Lap it up.
It's
You
like what you've just been saying, Claire, is like so important about, you know, allowing yourself to sort of flow into that and stop sort of closing yourself off to it. And it's meeting people, like-minded people, who can actually help show you the way. Because sometimes you don't know how to navigate on your own. So I'm really thankful for all of you lot. And I'm excited.
Yeah, covered in angel bumps. Yay!
Angel bumps, I love it.
They're not called goosebumps anymore, they're angel bumps.
Yeah,
if you feel that.
We are creating a new reality, and we are going to share this with as many women as possible until it becomes real for everyone to be their real self, because it's been too long that we've been hiding in our own darkness. We deserve to shine our light as bright as possible. So I'm going to say it. Keep growing, keep going, and keep
glowing.
Love you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.